News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. Investors are watching closely as President Trump turns his focus to trade talks with the European Union. Big meeting scheduled for tomorrow.
August 1st is going to come, and we will have most of our deals finished, if not all.
Trump to reporters as he left for Scotland. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will travel to Scotland to meet with President Trump tomorrow. The two sides aim to conclude an agreement that would see the EU face 15% tariffs on most of its trade, with limited exemptions for certain products and a quota for steel and aluminum imports. But a trade deal between Washington and the EU won't be that easy. According to Heidi Kribo-Redeker, senior fellow in the Center for Geoeconomic Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations.
Devil is in the details. Trade is very complicated.
Kribo-Redeker there on Bloomberg's Balance of Power. Greg Dacko, chief economist at EY, says, meantime, it is still unclear how inflationary tariffs might end up being.
It's not that we're not seeing the tariff pressures. It's that they're taking some time to filter through because businesses have been managing inventories, because they've been using bonded warehouses and foreign trade zones, because the effective tariff rate is not quite yet at the average tariff rate, and there is a gap between those two. All these measures are delaying the inflation pass-through, but make no mistake, it is materializing, and it will affect us with more and more pressure over the course of the summer.
And Dacko there on the Bloomberg Surveillance podcast, which you can download wherever you get your podcast. The Fed's two-day FOMC meeting wraps up Wednesday. We'll have live special coverage on Bloomberg Radio and Television, in-depth analysis on Bloomberg News Now. The Fed widely expected to keep interest rates unchanged, although President Trump has been pressuring Fed Chair Jay Powell to cut interest rates. The late Jeffrey Epstein's companion and convicted sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, yesterday finished answering questions during meetings with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. ABC says that is after Maxwell was granted a limited form of immunity. ABC also says the immunity allowed Maxwell to speak without fear that her responses could later be used against her. Some Republicans are saying they need more information about what actually happened with Epstein. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett.
She holds the keys to the kingdom on this issue. She's the one that was there. She was the gatekeeper, and in some strange way, she loved this dirtbag. So hopefully she'll come forward with a lot of good information for us in the future.
Burchett is a Republican from Tennessee. Taiwan's opposition will keep its legislative majority, with voters rejecting an attempt today to recall 24 Kuomintang lawmakers. The recall election, instigated by civil groups who claim the KMT was working with China and jeopardized national security, which it denies. According to William Yang, senior analyst for North Asia at the Crisis Group, the outcome shows that more Taiwanese people are still in favor of maintaining the current power balance in Taiwan politics. Gains for U.S. stocks yesterday. New record highs for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ as investors look ahead to the tech parade this coming week with Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta Platforms all reporting. Dan Ives, global head of tech research at Wedbush Securities.
This is an AI arms race. No one's going to slow down CapEx. They're going to increase it because you're seeing the actual use cases. You're seeing the demand drivers that are there. And that's why big tech, you'll see it from Microsoft, Meta, across the board. I mean, and, I think no one is going to slow down. And I think the street is still underestimating, probably by 15 to 20%, what this demand is going to look like going into the second half of the year.
Ives is global head of technology research at Wedbush Securities. China's premier is warning of an AI monopoly as U.S. efforts to that end quicken. Premier Li Keqiang says China will spearhead the creation of an international organization to jointly develop AI. He spoke to the World Artificial Intelligence Conference. Former Google chief Eric Schmidt echoing Li's calls for nations to work together. NASA says thousands of employees are set to resign from the space agency. It will lose about 3,870 employees through a voluntary resignation program as part of budget cuts and efforts to reduce the federal workforce. Some experts say the cuts will cause NASA to lose some of its best talent. And Jeff Bezos has wrapped up a sale of Amazon shares that has netted him nearly $5.7 billion since his wedding day in late June. More from Bloomberg's Charlie Pellett.
According to data compiled by Bloomberg, Bezos has now sold over $50 billion of Amazon shares since 2002. The sales, which began when Bezos unloaded $737 million around his weekend nuptials in Venice, were part of a trading plan for up to 25 million shares that he adopted earlier this year. The divestitures come as Amazon stock has surged 38% from its recent low in late April. The company will report earnings this coming week as investors wait to see whether its heavy spending on artificial intelligence pays off. In New York, Charlie Pellett, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it. With Bloomberg News Now, I'm Denise Pellegrini, and this is Bloomberg.